Hi, Miss Katie here. Legend has it for hundreds and hundreds of years, sea monsters have lurked in the ocean. Now, this is folklore. Nobody really knows if it's true. So we're going to do a project today about them. We're going to look at some references and discover scales and slime and all the kind of details you can put in your sea monster. Here's kind of a cute one I did. Yours might not be cute. Yours might be spooky, scary, scaly. So let's go check it out. Let's look at some references and get started. For this project, you will need your sketchbook, pencil, Sharpies, an eraser, your handout with your sea monsters on it. You'll need your big cardstock, markers. Now we have written in our planning that you can do this in acrylic paints if you want, but we have a lot of acrylic paint projects, so I'm going to do this one in marker, but if you'd like to acrylic paint that one, that's awesome too. Alright, so to start this project, what we're going to do is we're going to look in our sketchbook and we're going to start designing what our sea monster will be. So I want you to take some time to put together some different parts of your sea monster. Now I'm going to format this one a little bit differently because I've already drawn this pretty cute little sea monster here, and what I think you will benefit from most is if I show you some cool tips and tricks on how to go about designing your own sea monster rather than just showing you how I'm going to design mine. I want to show you how to do scales, horns, things like that. So I'm going to use this large piece of paper to show you some tricks. All right, so sea monsters, if we look at the parts, now these are mostly drawn from all different artists, and they've put together these kind of magical creatures. As you can see, some of them, I mean all of them really, have some way of swimming because we're drawing sea monsters. So they have these fins that are, or these webbed feet. There are also gills, tails, we have eyes. Everyone has eyes, right? I mean, maybe not. Maybe your sea monster doesn't. Maybe it lives in the darkest parts of the ocean and doesn't need eyes. Teeth, tentacles. So think about all the parts. And then I'm going to show you how to draw a few, and then you can kind of combine them how you wish. All right, so let's start with scale. Now, when you go to design your sea monster, you're going to want to put your body down first, okay? So you're going to want to start with the largest shapes. So maybe you draw a large body. Maybe you draw a head on top. And then you're going to start combining. Maybe he's got this serpenty tail situation. But to work on his texture, scales can go a couple ways. Maybe I'll just go straight to Sharpie so you can really see this. You can draw scales by making little loops that are spread out far away. Maybe it's kind of a little bit spread out like this, or maybe they're a little bit closer together, but you're just simply making like little loops, okay? Now, if you start making, and look at how random I'm doing this, because if you start making your loops the same every single time, they're gonna get in rows like this, exact rows. Maybe that's a look you want, but I would suggest going with something kind of more random and natural looking. The other way I like to make my scales is touching. So you can do a whole entire row of these loops like this. Now the tricky part on this is doing your next row meeting in the middle of your last row. Okay, so let me show you this on a larger scale, actual scale here, larger scale. So I'm going to draw, let's see, I'll draw like 5 loops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, instead of taking more loops and putting them right next to each other in the same exact pattern, I'm actually going to start this next one from here and meet over in the middle. 1, 2, 3. do another one coming off like this. Okay, so I could start this one here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so that's a great way to draw scales. This will take less time. This will take a little more time probably, depending on how big you make them. Now let's look at webbed feet next, because those are really fun. So let's say your sea monster has kind of these arms that come down. There's going to be a bend in his arm. Remember to draw lightly in pencil so you can erase. Next I'm going to draw his hand. I think the best way to show you guys to do this would be to draw kind of maybe a circle type shape or a triangle type shape that's meeting into the arm. And then we're going to draw a line that comes out from each end. And then depending on how many webs you want, you could draw, let's see how many will fit in here nicely. 1, maybe just 2, maybe I could squeeze. No, I think I'll just do 1, 2, 3, 4. You could certainly fan a lot of them in there. Now to trace, when I go to trace this, I'm actually going to do the outside ones, and then I'm going to loop in, and loop in, kind of like a bat wing. And then when I go to trace these veins in here, these, let's see, there's a couple ways we could do that. This one's kind of cute. He has these like little claws here. And then this one's a little different here. So maybe what I'll do is erase the center to give me a more clear vision. And I'll draw his little hand back in here. And then I'll draw these little claws like this. Okay, so this could be one way to do webbed feet here. And then if you want to draw, if you're having trouble with the arms or the legs, I would suggest drawing, I'll erase this part to show you guys. I would suggest drawing the arm or leg as a stick first, maybe with a bend in it if you can, or maybe it's more like a tentacle and doesn't need a bend. Once you have a stick, then you can make it fatter on both sides. This is kind of like the bone, and then we'll make it fatter like this. After it's fatter like this, you can even kind of beef it up a little bit to make it look a little bit more natural. Okay, this is kind of looking froggy-legged. Okay, and then of course erase all that pencil before we color. All right, so let's look at some other things. What about fins? Fins are something you might have. So fins are kind of cool because they're going to be a little similar to our webbed feet in a way. So let's say, actually, why don't I just draw like kind of a creepy face here. I'm going to draw my face sort of roundish first. And then I'm going to mark out approximately where the eyes are going to go by putting a line across the middle. I'm going to do it a little bit low though. This is going to be approximately where the eyes are going to go, right on this line. To do some fins, maybe he has these gills or fin type situations coming out. This one's going to have to curve back this way because my leg is in the way. But I could draw a line coming out like this, and then another line, basically making a triangle. Okay, so a loopy triangle. And then I'm going to draw many lines coming out from the base, all the way out. Then when I go to trace it, Now for those eyes, those crazy, crazy sea monster eyes. Wow, these look very vacant and scary to me. I'm gonna start by drawing 2 circles for my eyes, just to start them. And then what about just making a dot right in the middle, like this guy, freaked out, like completely freaked out. You could do that. I think I will not do that for mine. I think I will have him have like these fishy eyes though, with bigger pupils, like whoa, big pupils. And now what if I wanna make him look mean? How could I do that? Let's see, eyebrows or eyelids. Something that's gonna kind of come over the eyes. So if I make a loop right here over my eyes like this, that kind of instantly makes him a little bit meaner. Okay, so I'll trace this. So we're gonna do this eyelid. Trace your eyelid first on your eyes. Always trace your eyelid first. All right, we could give him some kind of wrinkly or some kind of gills maybe. Which way do the gills can go? This way. Now, what about that nose? How does he smell his prey? 2 dots, done. 2 dots. Or maybe he has some creepy tentacle thingies that come out of his nose. That's weird and creepy. I don't think I've usually drawn such mean looking things. What about we give him horns of something? Or what about a, like a ridge that goes over his head? More fins. So think about all the things you can put on your sea monster. These are like spiky fin situations that are very poisonous. Because I might want to add some stuff to it. I'm really outlining this so that you guys can see it better, but I recommend you draw it out very well first, and then you do your black marker. Get it all fixed up first. So, last thing I'll show you would be if you want to do some tentacles that have the spots underneath, like the suction cups. So if you want to draw some tentacles, draw them as a straight line first, then draw a second line that gets a little bit smaller towards the end, like so. Then draw another line. This line is going to be where his suckers are. So this line can start big, and then maybe it gets smaller back here. Maybe it actually is going back behind here, and then it'll reappear over here even. So this line can kind of come in and out, like so. And then, before you do your black marker, always do the suckers first. And they can actually come a little bit over your pencil line. And they will get smaller as your section gets smaller. So these will be smaller. Oops. Draw carefully. And then we'll draw this line. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot you guys can do that can be really crazy on this. Feel free to just take this to the next level. You know, don't be shy. Get your sea monster really creative here. Try out some new things. All right, I hope you guys have a lot of fun and put together some really cool sea monsters.